Yo, what is up guys, Ghost here, welcome back to the channel. So in a bit of a surprise turn of events, DICE have actually announced another update for Battlefield 2042 with update 7.3. I know I keep saying that every new update or feature is going to be the last one, and then they always surprise us with another little bit of something that they tack onto the end of the game. So in this video, as usual, we're going to be going over all of the important changes in update 7.3. I've also got a bit of sad news about Battlefield 3, 4 and Battlefield Hardline. All of them are going to be shutting down on certain platforms, so we'll cover that after the patch notes. I will be linking everything down below, so if you're only interested in that, then feel free to skip along. And as usual guys, if you enjoy the content here on the channel, make sure you hit up the subscribe button down below. I'm going to continue covering everything Battlefield here on the channel, however much we get for Battlefield 2042, whatever the future may hold, it's all going to be covered right here. I'm sure I'm also going to expand into other games and things like that as well to, you know, sort of bridge the gap between Battlefield games. I know that over 60% of you guys who watch my videos at the moment on the regular are not subscribed, so you may just be seeing this in the recommended section. So if you can go and check down below and hit subscribe, that really would mean the world to me. So cheers guys, thank you so much for the support as always, and let's get into it here. So let's begin with vehicle changes. First of all, they fixed an issue with damage over time of the kerosene bombs when being too close to its death zone radius. So the kerosene bomb, that's one of the new ones for the stealth bomber. It actually wasn't doing any damage over time as far as I'm aware. Seems that they've now rectified that and it should be working as intended. They have increased the XFAD4 Draugr's AP cannon damage versus other air vehicles by 20%. I think it's pretty much conclusive that the HE cannons are the way to go for pretty much everything in the Draugr, so I don't really know why they've only increased the damage by 20% versus the other air vehicles, but that's at least something. Maybe they'll be a little bit more viable now. Now this is a big one here. The DRFM jammer will now protect against all locks for 5 seconds. So previously, of course, this would only protect you against lock-ons from vehicles. It sort of acted the same way Under Radar did, but at any altitude. Now they've changed it so it's going to protect you from lock-ons from infantry as well. So they say here that we've seen your feedback around weapon lock-ons against the Draugr and how little counterplay exists around it. We are therefore adding a lock-on protection to the DRFM jammer that will protect the Draugr against all lock-ons for 5 seconds. This will not protect the vehicle against projectiles already fired, but should offer options to avoid getting locked on. So be aware that they don't act like flares. You can't, you know, use this against a missile that's already in flight. You have to pop this before the missile is in the air. I know this is most likely going to be a bit of a divisive one because a lot of people don't like air vehicles farming them. And I know I'm also a bit biased because I do enjoy playing in air vehicles, but I have to say, any infantry soldier being able to pick up an AA launcher and hit you in the Draugr, regardless of any skill on either player's end, just seemed kind of broken. Like, they're just, for me at least, there is no point playing in the Draugr at the moment. It's just a death sentence. So I think this definitely was necessary here. It's only going to last for 5 seconds though. I'm not sure if that's shorter than flares. It probably is. And I guess some testing will have to be done. I think I forgot to mention, by the way, this update is coming next Tuesday on June the 11th. Unfortunately, I'm going to be on vacation then in Rome for a couple of weeks, so I won't be able to test it, but I'm going to be keeping my eyes on social media, and I'm sure you guys will be having a fly around yourselves, so I'll be watching. Now moving on, the EBLC Ram has seen some pretty big changes as well. So they have increased the rate of fire of the 40mm cannon from 140 to 155, and they've increased the blast from 35 to 37. And then for the howitzer, they've increased the impact damage from 40 to 65 to make it a more desirable choice in vehicle combat. And the developer comment here is that the missile launcher has basically been dominating the loadout for the Ram, and these changes are aimed at making the 40mm and the howitzer cannon more competitive options when choosing your loadout. I do have to agree with that. The missile launcher was by far the best choice against infantry, tanks, even, you know, enemy air vehicles. So by buffing the other two, hopefully now they're going to be a little bit more exciting of a pick. Now, next up, really big fix here as well. They have fixed an issue with jets' systemic parts getting disabled too quickly. So for anybody who's trying to fly the bomber or any other air vehicle for that matter, after 7.2, any sort of damage to the vehicle was disabling you and decreasing your mobility, which, you know, combined with the fact that you can't really get rid of any AA lock-ons in the bomber, made for a pretty bad experience that has now been fixed. They say similar fixes for other vehicles are planned for the next update. This is, of course, not just a bug that was affecting air vehicles, but I believe all of the vehicles in the game, but it seems they're going to have to solve this for the other vehicles in a separate update. So I guess this won't be the last update for the game. Oh, that's cool. Now, moving on to the weapon section, they have lowered the AP, I think it's supposed to read AP ammo damage, from 23 to 21 in the 0 to 100 meter range for the DFR Strife. Apparently that was overperforming somewhat. The Masterkey has also seen a number of nerfs here, so maximum pellet dispersion has been increased from 2 to 2.5 degrees, the RPM has been reduced from 99 to 80, and then damage per pellet has been reduced as follows. From 5 to 10 meters, it's been reduced from 20 to 18, and from 10 to 15 meters, it's gone down from 18 to 16. And they say here, these changes aim to balance this attachment and reduce its power against short-range primary weapons, while remaining a viable option to add strong CQC capabilities to weapons that otherwise wouldn't have them. I think a lot more people started to pick up this attachment after the AK-5C came out, because, you know, that was definitely a really powerful combo there, and that's probably what put it onto DICE's radar. Then we've got some nerfs for the PBX-45, generally one of the best weapons in the game, and I believe it also had the fastest TTK in the game, up to 20 meters. So for the close combat ammo here, before 7.3, the 0 to 20 meter damage is 28. After 7.3, it's going to have 28 damage from 0 to 10 meters, but only 24 damage from 10 to 20 meters. Close combat ammo dispersion is also going to see a bit of an increase, 8% faster after the first few shots, but maximum dispersion levels are still going to remain the same, so it's going to climb to that max dispersion 8% faster than it would have before. And then for the higher power ammunition here, previously it only did 28 damage from 0 to 10 meters, it's now going to do 28 damage all the way up to 20 meters. So essentially, the high powered ammunition is taking over the damage model that the close combat ammunition had before. So if you want that kind of an experience, you're going to have to use high powered ammo. And they say these changes aim to address the overuse and overperformance of the PBX in close combat ammo setups, which had a notably superior TTK within 20 meters with no equivalent downsides. TTK with close combat will still be the overall fastest of all ammo types within 40 meters, but it will require more control at longer distances to stay as accurate as before, thanks to that spread increase. High power ammo will now have more competitive TTK within 20 meters and reload speed to make it a more viable mid-range ammo type option. And the last change in these patch notes is not a great one for Mackay fans. He is now going to have to use a reload animation every time he equips the grappling hook. So I assume the way I'm reading this and understanding this is that whenever you hit 3 on your keyboard or whatever button it is on console to equip the grappling hook, you're going to have to reload it before you can use it. So that basically completely eliminates the mechanic in game that has sort of grown over the past 2.5 years, where people are using the grappling hook on the ground to speed their way across the battlefield, and now you're actually going to have to think and plan a little bit more about, okay, I want to get up to this vantage point, I'm going to have to actually stay in cover, reload the grappling hook, put it in the launcher, and then grapple up there. You're not going to be able to do it on the fly anymore. It's obvious here that DICE want to slow down the speed of the game. That's what they're really going for. I guess they didn't achieve that with the previous changes, so now they've gone for this one instead. I can't say I'm against them slightly slowing down the speed of the game for the next game, but it's kind of just a weird decision to do this in Battlefield 2042 when we're already at the end of the game's lifespan. Like, Mackay has been the way he is for 2.5 years. What is the point of changing him now? And the only conclusion I can come to there, and reasoning that I can find behind it, is that DICE are simply using Battlefield 2042 at this stage as a bit of a test bed for the next Battlefield game. Maybe that's a good thing. You know, maybe that's going to lead to us having a better, more fuller experience when that game comes out. But as always, guys, let me know what you think about that change down below. And finally here, a bit of a somber note for the end of this video. Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4, and Battlefield Hardline are all going to be taken offline on the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3 on November the 7th, 2024. I believe it was Battlefield Bulletin who actually spotted this, and it's not been advertised anywhere, but if you head over to EA's website, which I will link down below for you guys, and you go to their list of games, and you head down to B for Battlefield, then this is where you can find this section. Now, obviously, there aren't that many players left playing those games on PlayStation 3 or Xbox 360. You're still going to be able to play Battlefield 4 and Hardline on Xbox One and PlayStation 4. But Battlefield 3 only came out for console users on the PS3 and the Xbox 360. So, you know, that means now you can no longer play that game at all outside of the single-player campaign on console, which is kind of a sad moment. Also, outside of that, I do wonder why they're doing this. I guess there were just too few players that it isn't really worth it for EA to keep those servers up and running. Is this cause for concern, though, that maybe these games are also going to be shut down on PC and all of the other consoles in the future? Hopefully not. I hope DICE and EA aren't doing this because they're trying to funnel players towards their more newly released games, which would also make a lot of sense. But at the moment, there are still a decent amount of players playing Battlefield 4, specifically, I would say, on PC more than any other platform. So I really don't think they're going to be shutting down that game on that platform anytime soon. Before that happens, they're actually going to have to make a game that surpasses Battlefield 4 in quality. So we may well be waiting a while. Just quickly before I end here, guys, a little update from me. As I mentioned earlier on in the video, I'm going to be going on holiday, on vacation for the next couple of weeks. I haven't really got any content for you pre-prepared or anything like that, so it's going to be, you know, a couple of quiet weeks here on the channel, but I just wanted to put that out there. If you think that I've just quit making content because Battlefield 2042 is coming at the end, that is certainly not the case. I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to make, but I'll be making something when I get back. So if you aren't already, hit up the subscribe button, leave a like down below, guys. Let me know what you think about everything we covered in today's video, the patch notes, Battlefield 4, 3, and Hardline shutting down on those older generation consoles, and I will see you guys in the next one.